Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today is Christmas Eve across the English world, and that's typically a day of preparation for Christmas Day. Many families will be buying gifts and food at the last minute to be ready for the celebration of Christmas. Christmas across the English-speaking world is on the 25th of December. And I know that that is in contrast to other countries who celebrate it on the evening of the 24th. Now, that's because in the old days, many people believed, and still believe, that the day begins at sunset, not at the first light of dawn. And therefore, the 24th in the evening to the sunset of the 25th, for them would be Christmas Day. And they start exchanging gifts, etc. It's not like that in the UK. Christmas Day begins at the first light, and children, of course, will be expecting Santa Claus to deliver his gifts during the night of the 24th to the 25th. So the 25th is a day when there's a big dinner and families usually get together. Across the UK, there are, of course, some people who don't celebrate Christmas, but there's also at least one community who won't be celebrating Christmas at this time. There's a tiny little island in the north of the UK called Foula. Foula. It's pronounced Faula or Foula, Foula, and they celebrate Christmas 12 days later than anybody else. You can easily find details about them online. They've never embraced the Gregorian calendar, so their dates are different. It's difficult to imagine, isn't it? Because we have this thing in our minds that all across the world, or at least the Western world, the dates are fixed. But it's not like that at all. In fact, around the UK, you might be surprised at some of the different traditions that we have in different areas. Well, today, I really wanted to spend a moment talking with you about mental health, because one thing is for sure, Christmas time for many people is a time of great stress, depression, sometimes anger, and I don't think that can be overlooked. I can tell you that as a middle-aged man, my parents have been dead now for many years, I still feel a little bit of pressure at this time of year because, of course, there's still large family events which I'm not part of. Of course, I have my own family, I'm married, but still, I often compare my Christmas of today to my Christmas of the past, and that causes me a little bit of sadness. And then, of course, there's those of you who'll be sitting around the table, perhaps with people that you don't like, or people that you would prefer not to be around. There's all kinds of wounds from days gone by or things from childhood. And of course, when my parents were alive, I went through that as well. So Christmas is rather loaded with all kinds of emotions. And it's really unhelpful when the shops, the government, and the media have this big expectation that we will all be happy. And they really push forward this agenda that we have to be with someone. There's also a lot of single people out there, and they're kind of like told, well, it's not okay to be single. You should be with someone. It's Christmas. And there's all these hidden messages are floating around, and it causes a great deal of stress. So I would advise you, if you are feeling in any way stressed, don't forget just to go out and take a little walk. To be stuck inside for 2 or 3 days, even with close family members that you're usually around anyway, but not usually all the time, it's really important just to take a break, to take some exercise, go for a walk, and I would say be very careful about your alcohol intake. This is also a time which is very triggering for people who suffer from addictions or any kinds of problems in life. Really, it is very important just to reframe the day and to get out, take a little walk, and just clear your mind. Of course, there's people as well who don't drink for many different reasons, and they'll be getting kind of forced. Oh, but it's Christmas once a year. Surely you can drink with the family. Surely you can just take a little sip of wine. Here, that kind of behavior is rampant. So if you do find yourself in that situation, it's okay just to say no, thank you. And if people don't respect that, well, that's their problem. So yeah, it's a time really just to make sure you manage to get back some of your time. So if you, for example, are feeling the pressure, make sure you manage to get for a little walk. It doesn't matter if it's at 9 a.m., 2 p.m., or 10 p.m. It's okay just to go and walk off some of that heavy food. I know I'll be doing that during the Christmas period, just to take a little bit of exercise. And yeah, it's very stressful. And another thing to remember is that you're really not alone. Many people go through this. We all say Happy Christmas to each other. We all smile at each other. But to be honest, I don't think anybody likes it. We spend too much money. We're with people that perhaps we don't want to be with. There's a sense of uh, excitement, which appears to be a little bit fake, especially these days. And it's a good idea to break with your routine for a couple of days, of course, but it's not a good idea to get so lost in the merriment, especially when alcohol is flowing. So there we are. That's all I wanted to say about mental health. I just want to give you some ideas now about uh, how to describe mental health, okay? And also the things that you can do to protect your own mental health. Right, so the first one we can consider is stressful because the demands of holiday preparations, shopping, and social events can be quite overwhelming. Uh, Lonely for those who are away from family or who have loved ones that maybe they've lost. That's another way of saying that they're dead. Christmas can be a time of great loneliness. And also for those who are perhaps single, haven't been invited to anyone's house for dinner, it can be very difficult. And I know over the years it's Christmas time, it brings up all kinds of feelings, or at least it has done for me. Um, it's a very reflective time as well, because it's the end of the year. And well, a new year's coming, but we're kind of looking back, wondering where we've been, and looking forward, wondering where we're going. It's a very anxious time because of the expectations and social pressures, uh, which, even if they're unseen, are still there. So perhaps cutting down on the media is a good idea there. Nostalgic memories of the past, both good and bad, although we tend to see the past through rose-colored glasses, as we say in the UK. That just means that we look back with some kind of weird, happy memory when the memories weren't altogether happy. Um, Grateful, yeah, amidst the celebrations, many feel a heightened sense of gratitude for what they have. Depressed for some, the contrast between the festive atmosphere and their personal struggles can really bring about depression. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Uh, I didn't think that the contrast between the happy times and the sad times was there because I don't think I've ever really appreciated the festive season, at least not in recent years anyway. So those are some adjectives that perhaps describe Christmas. Right, let's just look at a few ways as to how you can deal with this time of year. Because if you're not working, work is great because it keeps you in a routine and it's a good escape. But if you're working at home, it often doesn't provide an escape because maybe family members are there who are usually at school or doing their own things. So you're kind of stuck. Um, of course, you can always seek professional support if things are really bad. There's nothing wrong with saying that you feel overly stressed, okay? Remember, it's only a couple of days because on Tuesday, at least in the UK, shops will be open again, and then Wednesday, everything's back to normal until the new year comes. To maintain a routine is also very good. Get up at the same time, make sure you're taking your exercise. Presumably, you already have some coping strategies, especially if you're someone who gets support regularly. Practicing mindfulness and meditation, yeah, that's a really important thing. And again, on my YouTube, I've really been talking a lot about the importance of a meditative practice. I mean, for anyone these days. In my mind, I'm thinking particularly for men, because even though life supposedly is getting easier with AI, I think what many of us are doing, we're trying to compete with it, saying, "Oh, but AI is speeding up, so I must as well to keep up with all the work that could be done to help it." And that's not practical, of course. I think men generally as well are dealing with great change. The world is moving away from the physical brute man who has to provide. We're heading into a period now where masculinity gets redefined along with femininity, and we need to take a bigger view of that, but many of us haven't yet. So that's a bit of a struggle for some. Connecting with others, now that's really important as well. And again, it's a problem I have. I don't really get a chance to connect with so many people outside anymore. I'm an older, middle-aged man who doesn't drink, and that automatically disqualifies me from most social circles in the UK. Also, many people here would hold a very toxic view of masculinity. You're supposed to drink to prove yourself as a man. You're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be doing lots of sports. And if you don't do that, you're kind of excluded. But all of these things need to be redefined. Healthy eating, yeah, make sure you don't take too much sugar. Even for me as a diabetic, I can see lots of sugar around me. People have been giving me chocolates and different things, but I've also got very low sugar or no sugar chocolate bars too, which are suitable for diabetics. So I've got those, but yeah, there seems to be a lot of sweets around this time of year. Journaling, well, that can be quite dangerous depending on who's got access to it. Yeah, limit social media. That's a really good one. If you're really, really wanting to forget about Christmas, you could volunteer. go and work at the local homeless shelter, drive around and give people on the street sandwiches, uh, something like that, and seek some nature. So, as I was saying earlier, just make an excuse, get out the house. I think that's the most important thing. So, yeah, if you are struggling at all this Christmas, just remember you're not alone. You are amongst many, many people who feel exactly the same way. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. And then we'll be, what do we say in English? Flung into the new year. So we need to be ready for that as well, because January can be a little bit depressing. So there we are, a very somber podcast today about looking after our mental health. But I think it's important. I mean, we can't just sweep under the carpet how we really feel. So plenty of air, plenty of walks. If you're going to be in a room full of kids, a good excuse there to take them out for a walk, get yourself walking as well. Even out to the garden would be good. It's cold, but we all need to do that. And that's it from me. So I hope you enjoy your Christmas Eve, whatever you're doing. And many of you will be opening your presents tonight on the 24th. So enjoy yourselves, and I'll catch up with you all again soon. See you. Bye.